When I arrived at the small family dinner, I saw 80 guests and a sign that read, "Welcome, baby Claudia." My mother started laughing and said, "We spent your bonus on family joy." I stayed silent and replied, "Noted." That night, I logged in, froze their accounts, reversed 14 transactions, and withdrew the entire €9,800 bonus. The next morning, something about the property had changed. My mother was smiling as if she were at the Goya Awards. "Surprise!" she shouted with open arms, then in a lower voice, but still not low enough for everyone near the shrimp platter to hear, "We spent your bonus on family joy." She laughed like it was a joke. I stood at the entrance, stunned. I hadn't told them about the bonus, not really. I mentioned a raise, a good quarter, but not the check, not the actual figure. "Noted," I said, and that was all. No one noticed my dry tone. They were too busy swirling in pastel shades. Claudia shone in white lace, as if she were royalty. My sister, the same sister who forgot to pay me rent last year, the same one who called me a calculator without emotions at Christmas, because I didn't cry watching the HMK movie she forced everyone to watch. That night, when the last guest took their gift bag and the balloon arch collapsed into something sad, I logged in again. I didn't shout, I didn't cry. I simply froze every shared account, reversed 14 transactions, and quietly withdrew the €9,800 from the shared family fund that I had stupidly agreed to open the year before. It also had my name on it, so legally it wasn't even theft, just a correction. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I just needed to protect what was left of my peace, not with vengeance, but with clarity, with truth. The next morning, something in the house had changed, and not just because of the way the garbage bags piled up by the door like broken promises. There was a note on my old bedroom door, a post-it in my mother's handwriting. "Please don't overreact. We did it for Claudia. It's family. She needs it." I left the post-it where it was, grabbed my laptop, sat on the edge of the guest bed, and opened the folder I swore I'd never use. It was called Receipts because if they wanted to start a war over family joy, they were going to learn how much it actually cost. I didn't talk to them for 5 days after the small family dinner. 5 days of silence, no messages, no calls, just me and the Google Sheets file where I had recorded every euro I had sent them since 2021, rent payments €6,300, medical bills €2,480, Claudia's emergency car repair €1,900, monthly supermarket €125, streaming platforms on my card, 4, my mother's wine subscription still active. I was an ATM with a Wi-Fi password. On the 6th day, my sister called. I didn't answer. Then my mother left a voicemail. "Honey, we know you're upset, but you're overreacting. It was just a dinner. Claudia is having a baby. She needs support right now. We thought you'd be happy." I replayed that message 5 times. Not once did she say thank you. Not once did she apologize. I decided to pay them a visit, not because I missed them, but because I had questions. When I parked in their driveway, Claudia's new SUV was parked out front, the same one she said she couldn't afford the down payment on 2 months ago. I recognized the dealership sticker. I had taken her. I signed as guarantor. She said it was for job interviews. She wasn't interviewing. She was organizing influencer brunches with macarons, cake, and expensive centerpieces. I saw the wheels. I saw the lies. I walked in without knocking. Claudia hummed, sitting at the dining room table surrounded by boxes of tiny illusions. Look who decided to grace us with her presence. My father looked up from the kitchen island. "Don't be dramatic. Your sister is pregnant." "Sure," I said, "and that justifies emptying my bonus on a fake baby shower with 80 guests?" He scoffed. "It's called giving back to the family. Try it sometime." I stared at him. "I gave you €9,800, and what, you want a parade for it?" My mother intervened. "We thought it would be good for everyone. Joy brings blessings." "Joy brings overdrafts," I replied. Then Claudia stood up and smiled like the villain in a Narflex series. "You always make it about you." Admit it, you hate seeing other people happy. That was the sentence. That was the moment I stopped expecting them to change. I left again. That night, I opened the hard drive I hadn't touched in months, a backup drive from before I moved out. I wasn't even sure what it contained. Turns out, Claudia had used it once. Made a complete copy of her laptop. Forgot to delete it. And I found everything. Screenshots of our private conversations, edited to make me look aggressive. Voicemails of mine, cut and pasted to simulate threats. A folder titled Insurance Claims with fake receipts and notes that included my name as a witness. Another labeled Bonuses with a photo of a whiteboard. If we say it was a gift, legally it's clean. I printed everything, then created a folder, Family Accounting. The next morning, I received a message from my father. Claudia said you were going through old files. Leave it. Don't do something you'll regret. I replied, too late. You should have thought about that before the shrimp tower. And then it got worse. I checked my credit report. 3 new inquiries, all from banks in their city. My mother had tried to open a card in my name. Used my tax ID number. I recognized the handwriting on the scanned application. Forged my signature. Badly. Plus, I confronted them in the family group chat. I attached screenshots, timestamps, file path message. You have 48 hours to explain yourselves. After that, I pressed send. My Aunt Beatrice left the group. Claudia replied, "This is harassment." My father sent a thumbs up emoji. My mother wrote, "You are destroying this family." 47 hours later, my bank called. They'd blocked a transfer for €4,500. Recipient, Rivas Family Trust. I'd never heard of it. The bank asked if I knew a Saribas. Yes, I said, my sister. Did I authorize that transfer? No. Would I like to file a fraud claim? Yes. 10 minutes later, I got an email from Claudia. Subject: This isn't what Mom wanted. No body. No signature. I didn't reply. By Friday, everything was crumbling. Their friends started calling me. My Uncle Manuel. A cousin I hadn't spoken to since 2014. Someone even messaged me on LinkedIn with a passive-aggressive "Hope all is well." Heard some weird stuff. Weird stuff? You mean when you leveraged your own son to throw a fake baby gala for your manipulative daughter? Or the part where you forged documents in his name? Yeah, I'd call that weird too. But I wasn't done yet. That weekend, I scheduled a meeting with lawyer Marta, a specialist in family law. I brought a binder of receipts, labeled each file, organized them by type, financial, digital, emotional. I showed her the backup, the forgeries, the messages. She said one word: leverage. Then she asked the most important question: "What do you want?" I smiled. An ending with fireworks. Friday morning, I received a message from my father. No greeting, no emojis, just, "Let's talk man to man." Workshop. 7 p.m. And it wasn't a metaphor. He meant the old shed behind his house, the one that still had the rusty toolbox, a broken light bulb, and his dusty "work hard or shut up" sign hanging over the window as if it still meant something. I didn't reply. I just showed up. He was already there, sitting in a folding chair, beer in hand, cigarette behind his ear. He smiled like we were about to watch a game. Then he said, "So, are we going to drop the drama?" I didn't answer. "I came to see if you still have the nerve to talk to me." He laughed and took a sip. "Come on, don't start. Look, Claudia's pregnant. Do you really want her to have a child in the middle of a scandal?" I didn't speak. He took that as permission to continue. "You and I are men. We fix things quietly. No screenshots, no banks, no lawyers. We do it without drama, without third parties." Okay. And then he said the real reason he was there. "We clean this up. You withdraw the fraud claim, and maybe this family can go back to normal." Sound good? I reached into my backpack, pulled out my tablet, and placed it on the dust-covered workbench. "No, but I think you should hear something." I tapped the play button. He won't even notice. He's soft, predictable. Blame it on him and he'll give you everything. It was his voice from a recorded call with my mother. I'd cleaned it up, removed the silence, left only the venom, just enough to be noticeable. His eyes froze. That's out of context. Sure, I said. Here's the rest. I swiped again. Up popped the scan of a loan application in my name, his handwriting, his forged signature. A browser log showing the IP address, the session history, the timestamp. And then I opened the next file. An Instagram story of Claudia holding a new iPad. Text, bought this with the bonus, thanks to my silent investor. He stopped drinking. You don't understand, he murmured. Claudia has always needed help. You're strong, you have the salary, the tech, and that makes stealing from me okay. I said flatly. He didn't answer. Instead, I pulled out a manila envelope and tossed it on the table. A copy of the fraud report. The original is with the investigator. Oh, and one more thing. The door creaked behind us. In walked Tomas, Claudia's ex, the same one she claimed was abusive, dangerous, emotionally destructive. Claimed. I used to believe her. Hello, Fernando, Tomas said calmly. I thought you might want to hear a few things. He held a folder in his hand and started talking. He told him about the fake pregnancy scare, about the threats, about how Claudia demanded money or else, about the documents she herself had drafted, step-by-step plans to destroy his reputation if he ever left her. She told me your son was weak, Tomas added. Turns out, he's the only one in the whole family with any guts. He opened the folder. Emails. Screenshots. Audio. Claudia's voice boomed from the speaker. He doesn't know. I used his name for the paperwork. He'll never find out. Trust me. It was Claudia's voice, unfiltered, undisguised. My father recoiled against the wall, pale and silent. I didn't know, he murmured. No, I said. You chose not to know. Then I leaned in, looked him directly in the eye. You lost me. Not this week. Not this month. Forever. And I walked out. As I breathed in the cool night air, I heard Tomas's voice behind me, quiet but sharp. By the way, Fernando, if any of you come looking for me again, I'll go public. The next morning, something had changed about the property. A notice was taped to the front door, sale of shared ownership pending legal resolution. It wasn't handwritten. It wasn't subtle. It was bright orange, stapled to the frame with cold intent. By noon, Claudia had called me 23 times. My mother sent 3 voicemails, all of them crying. My father sent a single message, "You're making a mistake you can't come back from." I didn't reply. Instead, I uploaded a folder of documents titled Family Transparency Initiative. No drama, no syntax, just facts. Inside were PDFs, screenshots, recordings, the loan documents in my name, audio of Claudia bragging about how she manipulated me, photos of the €9,800 baby shower paid for with my bonus, a timeline of every transaction. Lie and public humiliation. And, of course, the official letter from the province confirming that I had sold my 50% of the house to a law firm. They didn't know I still had a stake. It was the last card I'd saved. They thought I was bluffing. They forgot I was raised by them. The fallout began within hours. A neighbor posted a photo of the orange notice on Facebook with the caption, "Trouble at the Rivas house." Another commented, "About time someone stood up to them." That afternoon, I got an email from a local news blog. They'd seen the documents. They wanted a statement. I gave them a single sentence, "Sometimes you have to burn the legacy to escape the inheritance." They used it as a headline. That night, my mother posted a 7-paragraph text on Facebook. Called me ungrateful. Said I'd betrayed the family. Said certain people don't understand how hard it is to be a mother. Included a photo of me from 2009, braces, acne, and all, captioned, "I raised this boy, and this is how he repays me." The post got 14 likes, all from relatives I haven't spoken to in years. Aunt Beatrice commented, "Sending prayers. Stay strong." I didn't reply, But I did log into LinkedIn and delete every family connection from my profile. I didn't want them near my name. 3 days later, Claudia uploaded a video. Her face was pale, her eyes full of perfectly formed tears. The background music was a dramatic piano. Sometimes people break you and call it justice. My brother used to be my best friend. I don't know who he is anymore. The comments were brutal. Someone posted, "Isn't this the girl who forged messages and loan documents?" Another commented, "She's the reason innocent women get accused of lying." One user found the leaked audio clip of her voice and synced it with the photos of her supposed baby shower bump. The internet did what it always does, turned pain into pixels, transformed victims into villains. And this time, they were right. Tomas texted me a week later. She messaged me. Said, "She's pregnant again." Probably fake. I blocked her. He added, "You did the right thing, man. Wish I had your courage." I didn't feel victorious. I felt clear. There's a difference. My father, predictably, was the last to speak. Until a letter arrived at my apartment. No sender, just typewritten text. "You think you won. You didn't. Men like you always come back when the silence becomes unbearable. You'll crawl back. They always do." Signed, the man who made you. I laughed when I read that part because he didn't make me. He tried to break me. What made me was the silence, the performance, the years of biting my tongue while they drained every euro and called it love. He didn't make me. He taught me who not to become. The law firm that now owned half the house sent them a formal demand letter, buy out their share or leave in 90 days. Turns out, sharing property with a silent partner can be uncomfortable. I forwarded the letter to Claudia with a short message. "You threw a 10,000 euro party. Let's see how you handle property tax season." She replied with a single emoji. I didn't block her. I didn't care enough. That weekend, I posted one last update. A single photo. No caption. It was a picture of the new sign outside my building, the one I'd just installed next to the door to my new ground floor studio office, Arden Accounting, Personal Strategy, and Digital Forensics. That's the name I chose because if they ever try again, I'll be ready. And if anyone else feels the way I felt, I'll teach them how to fight back. The check cleared on a Thursday. 11,742 euros and 28 cents deposited via direct transfer following the liquidation of the Rivas family home. It wasn't a gift. It was compensation. And it was mine. It took months, statements, lawsuits, a forensic audit. But justice doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be final. The judge read the verdict in less than 5 minutes. The defendant knowingly falsified financial documents using the plaintiff's identity with the intent to obtain personal gain through fraudulent means. Full restitution plus penalty plus costs are ordered. My father didn't even show up to the final hearing. He sent a note through his lawyer. "This is a witch hunt. I will not participate." Claudia sat in a corner like a rejected actress at a failed audition, head down, lips pursed, no tears this time, just silence. My mother watched the sentencing as if waiting for someone to stop it, but no one did. The next morning, there was a "for sale" sign on the front lawn. A week later, it had new owners. They ripped out the flower bed, smashed the mailbox, painted the shutters black. It didn't look like a family house anymore. It looked like a purge. My lawyer called me that afternoon. "They've transferred the funds. You'll receive confirmation shortly. Legally, they can't contact you again. If they do, call me first." I thanked her. She said, "I've handled a lot of cases like this, but never one where the son made it so clean." I didn't say anything. There was nothing left to clean. That night, I sat on the floor of my new office, wood floors, silence, order. The company sign had arrived earlier that day. I peeled the cardboard off carefully, slowly. Arden Accounting, Strategic Recovery and Risk Defense. And underneath, never again means never again. I wasn't looking for punishment. I was choosing peace. I hung it on the door myself. Drilled the anchors, screwed it in, no help, because that's how it had always been. A week later, a letter arrived at the old P.O. box. Handwritten, messy, on torn-edged paper. You made your point. We lost the house. Claudia is suffering. Your mother isn't well. If there's any part of you that still believes in family, answer the phone. I slid the letter back into the envelope, sealed it, and fed it directly into the shredder. That same day, I went to a credit union and closed the last shared account I had with any of them. The manager, Laura, asked, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's permanent." I nodded. That's the idea. She slid a folder across the desk. Final account closure. I signed without blinking. Then I handed her a note I'd already written. Please notify all linked account holders that the account no longer exists. Any future charges will be declined. Claudia tried to make a payment the next morning. €112.99 at a baby boutique. Declined. Tried again. Declined even faster. Then she texted me, "I'll pay you. I'll pay you back everything if you just stop this." I replied with a single figure, 1942.16. The debt is yours. She never replied again. They didn't pay back all the money. The penalty came from the court. But the money wasn't the victory. The victory was the silence. No more middle-of-the-night calls. No more obligations disguised as guilt. No more being their emergency exit. They tried to use my blood as leverage. But I bled out the part of me that still needed them. That Friday, I changed my number. Only 3 people got the new one. The old one is still active, still linked to the Narcwex shared account my mother forgot to close. Let it stay there. Let her wonder who I am when the screen reads, "This profile is no longer available." The last thing I did was donate €2,000 of the settlement to a legal fund for adult victims of family financial abuse. I didn't post about it. Didn't tell anyone. Just click send and moved on. Then I stepped out onto the balcony with a cup of black coffee and silence. For the first time in years, no part of me was calculating anything. Not a budget, not a strategy, not an apology. I was just breathing. Some stories end with reconciliation. Mine ends with clarity. I'm not guilty for being used. But I would be for staying. They called it betrayal. I call it liberation. They saw conflict. I found closure. They said I'd crawl back. But I didn't. I changed the locks, changed the number, changed my life, and never looked back.